So, as some of you may be aware, you may recall that I told you that previously I was heavily involved in construction. And a buddy of mine actually called me yesterday from Atlanta, and he was telling me a little bit about the business and some things, some changes that he was doing with his business. He's actually, he started out as a remodeling company in Gwinnett County, and he's expanded. And over the years, we've worked together, and I've seen his company and his business grow. And he's expanded, and he's moving on now to being a home builder and a home developer. And he was explaining to me about a recent opportunity that was presented to him that is a little bit concerning, but kind of par for the course, and something that we've been seeing happening more and more recently, something that we should probably be more prepared for in the future. And he was telling me that he was presented with an opportunity to build a neighborhood of roughly 75 homes, purposely built for rent only. And I think this is the direction that we're seeing real estate going, particularly new construction, which is very interesting to see. But the biggest issue with that is not the fact that these home builders are building out these neighborhoods to rent, which some of the big names, Toll Brothers, D.R. Horton, BlackRock, this has been their business model. For some, it's been their business model for years. Others are adapting to it more, and it's becoming more and more commonplace. But for my buddy, this is a first time experience for him. As far as building houses and all things like that, that's not new to him. But getting involved in a project of this size, particularly just to own and manage and rent out once completed, that's new. But it brings me up to this article that I was reading this morning about rent, and this is the possible concern that we need to be addressing: is where is housing going? So we are aware that through reports from companies like Zillow, Redfin, all the heavy hitters in real estate that are tracking the data, putting out this information, they're telling us that the market, the housing market, the real estate market is on a downward trend. It is shifting to a buyer's market. And I was actually having this conversation with Economic Prepper last night, and I told him, I said, I don't think it's a buyer's market yet, but it's definitely not a seller's market anymore. And he told me, he says, I think that this is the most balanced equilibrium that we have seen in housing and real estate in quite some time. And we're kind of in the middle between the home values being extremely overvalued in some scenarios, in some instances, with the Fed raising interest rates, consecutively raising interest rates by 50, 75 basis points over and over and over again, which, we are expecting to see what they're going to do coming up here soon. But if they go up again, it's going to continue to shift it from the seller's market to the buyer's market. And on top of that, the uncertainty in the market, the confidence of the buyers and their ability to repay, mortgage companies, mortgage lenders, brokers, are all the banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, the big banks, Rocket Mortgage. They're all reporting reduced amounts of mortgage applications. So this is kind of like a telling sign of the times of what's going on. And we're not even to the point at which the housing market would typically slow based on seasons. We're seeing that slow a little sooner, but I think it has a lot to do with what's going on in the economy, what's going on in the White House, what's going on around the world, what's going on with people's jobs, and the possibility of them still having their jobs on top of inflation and other rising costs that are ultimately taking away from their ability to be able to afford real estate. Now that real estate is becoming seemingly more available, whereas there once was a time, and you guys all remember this, there once was a time where a listing would hit the market and it would have showings booked out immediately, overlapping. If there was an open house, there would be a line outside the house wrapped around the corner for people willing to get in, and even for some who couldn't even get in, just throwing out all cash offers over asking just to see if they can get the property. Now we're seeing properties sit. I'm not saying everywhere. This is all depending on certain markets, certain price points, and different factors that come into play. Main factor being listing price. And I believe that there have been some people out there, some folks out there that were interested in capitalizing on the appreciations of these assets, whether justified or not. They were looking to capitalize on them. And in the last 3 to 5 months, probably, they missed the boat. So some properties are going to be listed at prices that don't align with today's market. They don't align with today's buyer. So now we're seeing them sit. Now the sellers are having to be convinced that, it's not quite what it was. You can't list it for that much. And if you do, this is what's going to happen. They're going to sit. You're not going to get showings. No one's going to come to an open house. Now, here in our area, we've seen it. We've seen homes, townhomes, like single family homes, townhomes, and condos sit on the market for long periods of time, repeat open houses, and price reductions. Now, what does that mean? Number one, let's address the elephant in the room. People have asked, Kevin, how can you tell us this? How can you share this information? How can you give us this advice? And you don't even own a house yourself. And there's 2 answers to that question. Number one, how do you know I don't own a house? And number 2, yes, I have made lots of money in real estate, and I am going to continue to make money in real estate, which I talked about in a previous video. If you guys want to go check it out, I'll put the link in the description, or maybe I'll put it up here so you guys can see it. But the simple fact of the matter is that sometimes, and I've said this before, you have to do what is hard when it is easy. So for some folks, selling their home, selling their primary residence, selling that asset to move into a rental is hard. But we did that. We did what was hard when it was easy. Why? Because of all the profit and gain that we could have realized from the sale of our real estate. Not to mention, we were looking to pick up new real estate in a completely different area, and we didn't want to be tied down by that property. Although we could have kept the property and become a landlord, which I'm going to get into here in just a minute, and saw reoccurring gains or reoccurring passive income stream, basically through rental income. But we chose to, quote unquote, cash out. And I believe that, and according to my real estate agent and according to monitoring the markets, even after we've sold, we sold at the top. No doubt about it. We sold at the top. Not undeniable. Now, with that being said, where we are now, we're on the hunt. We are looking. We are browsing. We are shopping. We are having discussions and conversations and going to open houses and showings just to see what's out there and just to see where the market's going and see where we're going to slide in. And I think that, in about 6 to 12 months, we're going to see the most opportune time to jump in through various different changes in listing prices, sellers' willingness to negotiate, and motivation, as well as some changes in the rates and the mortgage company. So that's what I'm planning for the future. But at the same time, we're watching single family homes, townhomes, condos to see what's going on. Not to mention, we're interested in picking up a vacation rental for some short-term rentals. So we have to keep our eye on the market to see what's going on. But we're seeing the changes occurring, and the prices are dropping. The prices are dropping on the sales. So this is just a sign of the times. It's moving towards a buyer's market. Right now, like I said, it's not quite a buyer's market, but it's definitely not a seller's market, I don't think. Especially if the seller's looking to capitalize on some real, like, meaty profit. If a seller wants to sell reasonably, then they could probably move the property pretty quickly. But if they're looking to really capitalize on some of the gains that people were seeing, last year at the height of this, they've kind of missed the boat. So with that being said, if the buyers aren't super interested, the buyers aren't super qualified, if the buyers aren't super confident, the mortgage applications are lowered, they're being reduced, what's going to happen to these properties? People are going to have to hang on to them. There's no reason not to. There's still equity in them. There's no reason to walk away from them. We're not going to see a flood of foreclosures on these properties. And in the markets that I'm talking about, these are second homes, these are vacation homes, these are income properties. These properties are safe. But if they can't sell them, they're going to rent them, plain and simple. And that ties into what I was telling you about with a buddy of mine. And he was approached with the opportunity to build out a neighborhood primarily for rental properties. This is the direction we're going. Now, despite this crazy story here, which I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me put this here so you can possibly see what's going on with this crazy story. But it says, I've seen a lease calling for daily lap dances. That's crazy. But I do think that this is a little bit telling of what I'm about to share with you about rental properties and some of the changes we're going to see as more buyers are shifted to renters. And unfortunately, another article here is sharing the story of some military families and how their housing benefits are lagging behind on the available properties for rent. And this one story in particular was from a family in San Diego, and they are stationed at or being transferred to a naval base in San Diego. And they said that the on-base housing wasn't an option. And the wait list for a 4-bedroom home in the neighborhoods they qualified for was 14 to 16 months. So they had to then take their search criteria outside of that. Neither were the military-only hotels near the base. Those were, with the lower rates, those were full too. So they had to expand their search. So as they're expanding their search, they're going into the normal, like the civilian rental market. And they said that, after just like countless hours of diligently searching and trying hard, they found something that they can rent that was $4,200 a month. And they said that this was $700 more than their monthly basic allowance for housing, or the BAH. So, and they had to pay a month in advance. So it's not first month, last month. They had to do all the standard requirements for a rental. Plus they had to pay a month in advance. So it's prepaid. These landlords are not interested in post-pay because of the, some of the things that were going on during the height of the pandemic. These renter moratoriums, the lack of ability to evict, some people taking advantage of the system and just not paying landlords. All that is playing a part into the change in the rental market. And I think that we're going to see some of these outlandish stories here of some of these lewd and crazy hidden clauses in some of these lease agreements that people probably won't really be paying attention to, because they're going to be so focused on the fact that, hey, I just need a place to stay. I just need to get a lease. I just need to find something, and they're going to sign. And even if they do catch these things, they may say to themselves, well, this is all that's available. This is all that I can afford. This is the best I got. I have to do it. And I hope that doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, if the sellers can't sell, if the buyers aren't willing to buy, the rental market is going to take a huge jump. And we could possibly see these rental prices continuously climb, especially in areas, unfortunately, for our armed forces, which is ridiculous in these areas. Once they see that the housing options available for them have been exhausted, then the civilian rental market is where they're going to turn. They're going to jack the price up. And that to me is just wrong. But regardless, that's what they want to do. Free market, but I want you guys to be aware and paying attention to what could possibly be coming down the pipeline. And unfortunately, because there was a VA loan program, which would allow those in the military and veterans to have access to lending and make it easier for home ownership, which isn't always a great option, especially if you're still being transferred and moving around the country or even around the world for that matter. So you may not want to buy, but we're going to see more developments, primarily single family homes, but primarily for rental. And we're probably going to see some of these properties that are sitting on the market that aren't selling turning into rentals. And more than likely, we're going to start seeing some rate increases on the rents, especially as landlords are trying to recover from some of these moratoriums, some of these renter protections that prevented them from getting paid for quite some time. But unfortunately, they're going to take these out on the folks that can afford, the people who are willing to and continue to pay. Whereas the others, and it's almost as if and there was government funding that allowed this to happen, which was paid by taxpayers' dollars. I think it was 700 million or some number like that. But it's the folks that are actually doing what they're supposed to do, following the rules, paying their bills, that are subsidizing this for everyone else. So we have that going on, but I see a shift coming. I see it. We're going to continue to monitor the real estate market, especially to see how these single family homes, these townhomes, these condos in our area are performing. And I'm also working on bringing you guys a collaboration with some real estate agents to bring you some real world frontline boots on the ground intel from the folks that live this and they do this day in and day out. But it's just interesting that yesterday I received a phone call from a friend in Atlanta, and he's getting involved in this. At this, all this stuff is kind of like building up at the same time, and we're moving on to a renter lifestyle. And there's nothing wrong with it, but for those who were looking to buy, it's getting a little bit more difficult. It's getting a little bit more questionable as far as, will you have the ability to buy, as developers, builders, and investors are coming in to scoop up properties to turn them into rentals. And as a investor, as a landlord, then that's a great deal for you, because now you're putting yourself in a position for passive income streams in perpetuity. Granted, you need to have the mindset and willingness and knowledge and experience and team to manage these properties, which is part of the reason why we chose not to rent out our house instead of selling it. Is for the fact that it would have been a few hundred miles away from here, and we didn't really want to manage that. Now, being here in Florida, we are interested in managing a condo or a townhouse or something like that is a short-term rental. We're interested in that. So if that makes sense. So there's some changes going on in the real estate market. There's some changes going on in the rental market. And there's also opportunities out there if anybody's interested. And it's called, you may have heard of this before, but it's called apartment locating. So we talk about side hustles and passive income streams here on this channel, and we're going to talk about them a whole lot more. We're going to go into greater detail on these in the group. So if you want to know more, just join the group. And that's where we're going to do a deep dive on these things. I'm going to be taking requests and providing specific content targeted at exactly what you're asking for. And I'm putting it there because I feel like we'll have a better connection one-on-one with that versus throwing it out here on the main channel. But regardless, we're going to do that there. But one of the side hustle opportunities, passive income stream opportunities that exist is called apartment locating, which I'm going to get into with you in the group here shortly. Link in the description. But this is an opportunity for folks to earn commissions. Not real estate commissions don't have to only exist in closing home sales. Real estate commissions can exist in other ways, and apartment locating is one of them. So if you guys want to know more about that, come on over, check it out. I'll be providing that information, as well as many other topics of discussion, including how to start a small business. How do you start a small business, and how much money do you need? Do you need good credit for a small business? And honestly, the short answer is no, you don't. You can start a small business without any credit at all. But these are topics that we really need to expand on specifically for that matter. And I think it's going to be best for those people who are truly interested in knowing that. So that's where I'm going to put that there. And also, how do you generate passive streams of income? And what are side hustle opportunities? Is Amazon FBA, is selling on Amazon as an FBA drop shipping seller a good idea? And if it's not a good idea, what's another option? Is it possible to make money from home just by typing in names on a computer and replying to comments? Is it? Short answer, yes. How? I can show you that. And other ways of just side hustle income, including YouTube, which is a growing concern by so many. And if you guys know, I do manage several channels on YouTube. I have for several years. And now I have just recently started making my own. As people kept telling me, Kevin, why are you only managing the channels? Why are you not creating them yourself? And I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. So here we go. But anyway, YouTube is a growing topic of concern that we can dive into as well, because it's just another form of side hustle, passive income that can help you grow, that can help you earn more money, that can help you fight inflation, that can help you have enough money to pay for that higher rent, can help you have enough money for a down payment to buy that house. We're using these tools to our advantage to survive and to grow and succeed and to provide for our families and succession plans and, wealth building for next generations and things like that. So that's what we're going to discuss there. I'm going to bring you guys more of that. I actually was speaking to a young lady the other day, and she's an artist, and I actually met her at a car show, and she showed me some of the drawings that she does. So she does specific drawings for clients of their cars, hand-drawn sketches of their cars and them with their cars and certain, however they want it. She does it. And I think it takes her, I think she said it's roughly like 30 hours per drawing. She's not using Procreate. She's not using any of these apps. She's hand drawing this on paper. And she says usually it takes about 30 hours because she has to restart. If she ever makes a mistake, she just starts all over. These are amazing sketches. And so I said, these are awesome. And so she sells them. But I said, hey, you could probably double down on this. Not only making money by creating this art for these clients, which, range from anywhere from a few $100s to a few $1,000s, depending on what she's making and who she's making it for. But I said, hey, this is a great skill to showcase on YouTube of something you're already doing. And so we started that channel, and it is blowing up. It is growing unbelievably successful. And she cannot believe the amount of, one, referrals and additional business that she's receiving from the channel. And two, the revenue from the channel. And three, the sponsorship, affiliate partnerships that she's gaining from the channel as well. Unreal, unbelievable. So happy for her success. I can't believe it. Actually, I can believe it, but it's like, I can't believe she went through with it. And because a lot of people are afraid to be more, they're afraid to do more, they're afraid to try, they're afraid to fail, and don't realize that, if you just go that little bit extra, you can really have a huge positive change and see an impact on the work that you're putting in to get out what you hope to get. And usually you get more out than you expected. I'm just going to leave it at that. But either way, I wanted to share that with you guys today. I'm working on some other updates for you, as far as some updates from the Walmart distribution center and some other Walmart distribution center employees reaching out with some additional information to give us a little bit better insight about what's going on with our supply chain, what we could possibly expect coming this holiday season in the retail world. And also, I got some truck driver updates and another railroad worker union strike update to bring to you, as well as a big headline I want to share with you guys, which is very concerning, which is the fact that reports have shown that higher income earners are now changing their shopping and buying habits to save money and going into lower priced retailers. So I want to talk to you guys about that because that's going to have a huge impact on the folks that rely on the lower price retailers that are going to now see increased competition and from the higher income earner brackets, as well as the higher income earners now hitting food banks. So this is very telling about our society, very telling about our economy, very telling about what could possibly be coming in the future. But, as far as those folks that previously relied on this heavily, you're now going to have increased traffic, increased volume, increased competition, ultimately lowering the availability of these resources and the supply. And we need to be prepared for that. We need to talk about that. So working on all that, may put out another video today, maybe two. I'll see what I can get done. But I'll bring that to you guys as soon as I can. If you haven't already, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, share this information with anybody you think it would be helpful to. I really would appreciate it. As always, drop a comment below. I try to go through them. My contact information will be in the description if you want to hit me up. And you guys take care. Be safe. I'll see you real soon.